Now it is my turn to return the favor and welcome back our first speaker, the president of the class of 2021, master of ceremonies for this evening procedures, and with an overall GPA of 105.1, the 2021 valedictorian, Mr. Matthew Blair. Matt is a 3-year recipient of the Burlington County Principal and Supervisor Association Award, which recognizes the top students in 10th, 11th, and 12th grade at each Burlington County High School, and a member of the 2021 CHS Hall of Fame. Matt is an exceptional individual with a truly deserving valedictorian. He will be continuing his education next year at Bucknell University. I will now get out of the way for Mr. Matthew Blair.
Thank you, Mr. Gorman. And good evening to our faculty, families, friends, and of course, to my classmates in the class of 2021. I'm very grateful to have the opportunity to speak to all of you tonight. This class's remarkable scholarship, athleticism, artistic talent, and spirit truly make it an honor to be named valedictorian. I owe much of my success to my wonderful parents, who always taught me the value of dedication and hard work. I will forever be indebted to them. I'd also like to thank our 2 class advisors, Mrs. Carroll and Mr. McNamara, for the time and effort that they put into all of the senior events that we had this year. With the uncertainty of whether or not restrictions would lift so that we could have events like the gala and senior day, I know that they had to deal with tons of stress and even more paperwork in order to get things done for our class. On the same hand, I'd like to thank our administration for making sure that our senior year was able to look as normal as possible given the circumstances. We were able to have a fantastic class trip to Disney World, even as other schools in the area began to cancel theirs. Once again, thank you. Needless to say, we've had an unorthodox senior year that I'm sure has given all of us plenty to think about over these past 9 months. As I began writing this speech, I realized a couple of things. One, that writing a speech is way harder than I thought it would be, and 2, that I really didn't know where to start. It's hard to choose from so many memories of 13 years of school together. I could have talked about how someone ate a leaf in my kindergarten class, and you know who you are. Or how my group at Camp Bakanikin got the entire grade lost on the Compass scavenger hunt. And I could have even mentioned how we choked in pep rally our junior year, but I don't want to make Mrs. Carroll too angry. Then I decided that maybe I was looking in the wrong direction for inspiration. I started to look ahead towards what we can accomplish in the future, instead of dwelling on what we've done in the past. And I think that we have to take the lessons that we've learned together and use them to live more fulfilling lives when we're older. So, without being too grandiose, I'd like to share something interesting that I've learned over the past year. Through the upheaval in our country since last March, my mind has always drifted to the idea of freedom. Everyone is familiar with the famous First Amendment rights such as freedom of speech and religious liberty, but I began to think of a different form of freedom that I think many people are giving up today. That is, the freedom to think for yourself. You may say, of course we're thinking for ourselves. Nobody can control what we think. Mind control doesn't exist yet. And of course, this is true, but it's not exactly what I mean. In order to be thinking freely, you must be thinking actively. Don't be a potted plant. Don't passively accept others' ideas as facts until you think about them for yourself. So let me explain this idea with a trivial example. Suppose there's a movement that says kumquats are terrible, and we need to get rid of all kumquats. And all over the news and social media, you see the anti-kumquat faction ranting about how we shouldn't be growing any more of these fruits. Now, someone who isn't thinking freely would automatically respond with, I'm not eating a kumquat, that sounds disgusting. On the other hand, a person who is truly thinking freely would ask the question, have I ever tried a kumquat? Because to be intellectually free means to challenge the claims that you hear or read in different walks of life. And maybe, because of thinking freely, you discover that kumquats are actually your favorite food. Unless you have an allergy to citrus fruits, in which case you might just want to stick to bananas. Keep in mind, this doesn't have to only be about kumquats. It could be cucamelon, jackfruit, mangosteen, salmon berries, and maybe I'm just listing exotic fruits, but the point still stands. And not to make this a botany lesson, but don't be a potted plant. Take responsibility for your own intellectual freedom and make your ideas truly your own. Question what other people say. Never take anybody's claim as fact without asking your own questions about it first. Because how can you be living freely if you're not thinking freely? Intellectual liberty is the most inherent form of liberty that we possess, and in order to protect it, we must become active thinkers. That's when we can experience life and freedom to the fullest. I wish you the best of luck in all of your future endeavors, and I'm sure that many great things will come your way. And while it may seem like the class of 2021 is riding into the sunset, we're really charging into the sunrise as the endless possibilities of our futures spread out before us. Thank you very much, and God bless you all.